What's up guys, welcome back. This is anime fiction. You'll be watching What If Naruto Was Adopted by Whitebeard Part 7, now let's begin. Chapter 62, The Leader, is dead. Whitebeard jumped to a height of many tens of meters. As his strong body collapsed, the Murakumogiri in his palm cut downward. A great number of black arcs flared across the air. Like a falling meteor, the momentum was rushing, soaring. Quick, protect me, protect me. The strong sensation of danger and death caused the Kusagaku commander to scream in horror, his hands quickly creating seals. The few Anbu members surrounding him also acted quickly. Suddenly, the Kusagaku commander and numerous Kusagaku Anbu both utilized ninjutsu. Earth release. Multiple earth wall encirclement. Thick semicircular earth walls rose on the left and right sides, and layer upon layer of earth walls started to shut quickly. With a bang, a mini mound developed on the ground. The semicircular mound surrounded the Kusagaku commander and numerous Kusagaku Anbu, giving a protection equal to steel. However, it was pointless. The Murakumogiri wrapped in Conqueror's Haki, a kind of overkill, symbolized Whitebeard's scorn for such individuals. This Kusagaku chief is a terrible and shameless individual. Pirates would look down on him. Boom boom boom. The Murakumogiri's blade did not make contact with the semicircular mound. The Conqueror's Haki, wrapped around the sword, had already touched it from a distance. The loud sound seemed like a bomb bursting in one's ears. The semicircular mound was quickly pulverized into dust. The unequaled terrible power caused the Kusagaku chief and other Kusagaku Anbu within to exhibit frantic emotions. Boom, boom, boom. Their flesh and blood bodies resembled smashed watermelons. All of Kusagaku's Anbu members were killed by explosions. The Kusagaku leader's physique and expression were severely warped. His limbs and bones were expanding, inch by inch. "Ah! Spare me!" With a plea for mercy, he just managed to shout one syllable before his twisted brain burst. Blood rain drops were formed. But this has not concluded. Whitebeard's sword, covered in Conqueror's Haki, maintained its motion. It slid to the ground under his feet. The earth shattered. Kusagaku was experiencing strong earthquakes. Invisible shockwaves grew into raging storms that expanded outward. The powerful gusts of wind were similar to an S-rank wind release ninjutsu. Houses could not stand for more than a few seconds. The foundations of all the homes were removed. The Kusagaku ninjas, who had previously been washed away and barely escaped, were once again carried away by the tremendous waves. The large trees were uprooted one by one. Several meters of earth were pulled away. The scene resembled a purgatory. Not good. Outside the hamlet, Kakashi narrowed his eyes and created a seal with both hands. Earth release, earth-style wall. Chakra was rapidly devoured. In the flash of an eye, a massive earth wall carved with many dog heads erupted from the ground to defend him, Naruto, and Uzumaki Fushi. At the same moment, the rushing waves struck the earth wall, causing it to burst inch by inch. Kakashi was so terrified that he released another earth wall, consuming part of his pathetic quantity of chakra. Only then did it barely hold together. The horrific picture inside Kusagaku made many question whether such a huge ninja hamlet would vanish off the ninja world map with Whitebeard's attack. After 1 minute, the waves eventually subsided. Kakashi slowly pushed half of his body out from behind the earthen barricade. He initially examined he had loosened 2 earth barriers. The initial earth wall had been completely shattered, making it impossible to gaze at directly. The second earth wall was barely intact. It's only that the few dog heads etched on it had fractured. Kakashi's eyelids jumped dramatically at the sight. If we were hit head-on by the aftershock of that wave, that feeling. I'm afraid, it's not inferior to being crushed by a mountain. Kakashi was rather nervous. He was just fine as a ninja. His main concern was that Minato-sensei's kid would die here. He then focused his sight on the Kusagaku in front of him. Kakashi was astonished. Uncle Kakashi, what happened? Naruto also popped his head out. The ruckus had startled him so much that he refused to come out from behind the dirt wall. Only now, Naruto ventured to creep out from behind the dirt wall with Kakashi. He also focused on the Kusagaku in front of him. Naruto's blue eyes progressively broadened, until they expanded to an extreme. Is this Pops' power? When Naruto mumbled this statement, the horror in his voice was indescribable. Naruto, your father, appears to have nearly destroyed a ninja village with a single slash, Kakashi stated, appalled. Since they glanced about, everything was in ruins. The majority of the structures in the grass ninja town were destroyed and left in ruins, with 2/3 of the town area flattened. A massive trench with a diameter of several hundred meters developed on the earth in the settlement. As to how deep it was just impossible to quantify. Numerous fractures in the ground, concentrated on Whitebeard's cut, covered the whole grass ninja village. Unlike the fractures generated by the quake fruit, these fissures were parallel. The greatest fracture was the width of a river. The tiniest crack was at least the size of a finger. Similarly, measuring the fracture depth proved challenging. It was known that if someone accidentally fell in, they may lose half their lives. Even being reduced to a pulp was not inconceivable. If I'm not mistaken, Kakashi said, the leader of Kusagakure is probably in heaven now, right? It happened in an instant. A ninja village chief has been slain. This, unbelievable. The whole Kusagakure Anbu was almost extinct, along with the death of the Kusagakure chief. The reason for stating, almost, is because the Kusagakure chief had earlier dispatched an Anbu to seize all of the village's youngsters in order to intimidate the enemy attacking the ninja community. Although such an operation goes against heaven's will, it may be quite useful when dealing with foes who have high moral standards. But, when the final Anbu ninja of Kusagakure was about to go about collecting people, he was swept over by a gust of wind from behind. When he eventually fought to get up, he was shocked to see that he was surrounded by a shadow. He swallowed uncomfortably, embarrassed. He stiffened and twisted his head to look back. But before his head could turn halfway, he was startled to see that he had been scooped up by someone. Whitebeard's voice rang out from behind him. Ninja brat, what do you want to do? The dismal tone seemed like a question from the ruler of hell, frightening Kusagakure Anbu so much that he shuddered all over and subconsciously felt like peeing. Drip, drip, I. The sole Anbu member remaining in Kusagakure lowered his mask to the ground. He tried hard to grin, hoping to make his face seem less hideous. I want to take you to rescue the children in our village. Especially that red-haired girl. She is the most special child in our village. He had already witnessed the devastation behind him. He had previously been startled by Whitebeard and almost collapsed again from fear. He understood that their commander was dead. Kusagakure was also gone. Uncle, can you let me out? Karin's small face was filled with concern. She was now located in a basement in Kusagakure, being looked over by a genin from Kusagakure. Shut up, stinky brat. The Kusagakure genin scowled at Karin, saying frantically, you want to get out, and I want to get out, too. The difficulty is, he cannot get out. This genin from Kusagakure had no idea what had just transpired. He simply heard a thunderous roar. Then it seemed like the whole basement was ready to collapse. The basement walls were full of fractures, preventing them from being covered with dust and debris, leading many to believe that it might fall at any moment. When the noise stopped, this Kusagakure genin had initially intended to go out and observe what was going on. However, he discovered that the basement entry had been sealed. He got a horrible feeling. Damn it, he murmured quietly. Could it be that the building above collapsed and completely blocked the entrance? That'd be dreadful. His first goal was to keep Uzumaki Fushi's daughter under control. As long as the commander need her, he would bring this red-haired brat to him. But now, even if the leader needs this red-headed brat, he can't get this brat out. After all, he can't get himself out. The Kusagakure genin felt some soreness on the back of his hand. He glanced down and saw his hand had been scratched at some time. Did it get scratched by some debris just now? Hey, brat, come here. He narrowed his eyes. With malicious purpose, he said, what are you dazed for? Come here quickly. Uncle, are you going to take me out? Karin was surprised. She was quite anxious about her mother. She had no idea what her mother had been brought to perform. She just prayed her mother was safe and sound. Karin, who lacked security, wished she could visit her mother right now.
Don't talk nonsense. When I tell you to come over, you come over.
The Kusagakure ninja seized Karin's little hand. He tore Karin's sleeve. Under Karin's shocked stare, he bit down without hesitation.
His fangs punctured the child's sensitive flesh. Ah, it hurts. Karin shouted out in anguish, tears in her eyes. With a look of horror and tears on Karin's face, the Kusagakure ninja genin sucked hard a few times before letting go with an intoxicated expression.
Tisk. The bloodstains from Karin remained in the corner of Kusagakure ninja's lips. He was enjoying the unique qualities of the Uzumaki clan's blood.
He then glanced down at the cut on the back of his hand.
It has already vanished. Indeed, it's amazing. He pulled Karin away, forcing her to recede and eventually collapse to the ground after many missteps. Get lost, you little brat. For a freak like you, your blood is the most useful thing about you.
Suddenly, more debris and dust descended from above the basement. However, this time, it was not due to devastation. It seemed more like someone was excavating. Seeing this,
the Kusagakure ninja was pleased, and he hastily yelled upwards, "There are people here. There are people in the basement. Quickly save me. There's not much air left inside. Save me quickly." Just as he was shouting these remarks, suddenly, a massive hole formed over his head. But before he could be happy, this Kusagakure ninja was astounded to see that the hole was not smashed by a tool, but by an enormous hand. Wait, what? He tried to sidestep fast but was unable to do so.
That unexpected big hand gripped him, trapping his wrists and ankles, rendering him immobile for a minute.
He was dragged out, terrified. Being saved from a cellar that was ready to collapse should have made him glad, logically. But just right now, he was more afraid than in the basement. I saw a monster. It's gigantic. You ninja in this village, whether you are Jonin, Chunin, or Genin, you all make me sick.
Whitebeard, with his very strong observation haki, could see exactly what transpired in the basement.
When he seized the Kusagakure ninja, his palm gradually applied power. Wait a minute. Bang. The words suddenly ceased. The blood from the destroyed corpse was blasted away before it could reach Whitebeard's skin.
Kusagakure ninja, what do you have to say? Whitebeard asked the terrified Kusagakure Anbu next to him.
Anbu brought Whitebeard here. Sir, you did well in killing him, said Kusagakure Anbu, sweating excessively. He attempted to grin modestly. The Kusagakure's ninja way is indeed too deformed. Every ninja inside deserves to be punished. Except for me, he responded with, but I am loyal to you, sir. With just one word from you, I can become your most loyal dog.
Being a dog for the Whitebeard pirates is my honor. He had already known at the high wall of Kusagakure. The giant before him claimed to be from the Whitebeard pirates. However, he had no idea what type of power this was.
However, it does not stop his survival instinct from being active. Sir, please wait, I will help you go down and bring up Uzumaki Fushi's daughter. A dignified Anbu has been humbled to this degree in order to live. He quickly drilled into the basement. When he saw Karin huddled up in the corner, shaking and crying, he became terrified, and his legs went mushy. Little girl, don't be afraid. The villain who hurt you just now has been defeated. The Kusagakure Anbu worked hard not to frighten Karin, because he was worried he might meet the same end as the genin just now. You come over here. He had an epiphany. Your mother, she has returned to Kusagakure. Karin was curled up in the corner with horror in her eyes. She immediately lifted her little head. Mom is back. Karin quickly rose up, although her small leg ached. She almost fell down again. But she hung on to her determination. She eventually appeared, assisted by the Kusagakure Anbu. But Karin discovered that she had been duped. There was no mother in front of her, only a pair of large shoes, which disappointed her greatly. She glanced up, confused and disappointed. She seems to have grown used to being misled by others as a kid. Until she noticed Whitebeard's physique. Her expression was full with astonishment. Cough. Cough. Karin, it was this gentleman who saved you. The Kusagaker Anbu instantly stated. The person who defeated the villain who hurt you was this gentleman. Karin's large, wet eyes widened. You saved me. Whitebeard's massive bulk seemed to be tinted with a sheen of holy light in Karin's bewildered eyes, making her eyes glitter slightly. Red hair again, and a bitten mark on her hand. Whitebeard cocked an eyebrow. Little girl, are you the daughter of that woman named Uzumaki? Karin's astonished and saddened tiny eyes were suddenly filled with optimism after hearing this phrase. My mother is Uzumaki Fushi. She mentioned her mother's name. Her fixation with family devotion outweighed her terror of the giant. She anxiously said, Grandpa, do you know where my mom is?
Grandpa? Whitebeard was surprised and then laughed heartily. Gurararararara, little girl, it's not good to call me Grandpa. Looking at Karin, Whitebeard made a light-hearted joke. Little girl, call me Pops, and I'll take you to find your mother. How about that? Gurarararara. Karin was perplexed and understood, but she badly wanted to know whether her mother was safe. Pops. Yee, you may support me on Patreon and 50+ chapters ahead. Patreon.com/gmadman yee, give me your Power Stone. Add this book to your collection. Please give me your review of this book. 17 comments 0 vote. Download the app for more interactivity. You may talk to me about my writing experience outside of the comments area. Ginormous_Madman download app now. Chapter 64. Karin. Pop. Thank you. Oh, my god. What is going on with this young monster from the Uzumaki family?
Can't she realize that this enormous guy was only kidding? Did she honestly agree?
It is over. This small demon wouldn't irritate the behemoth, right? Could this potentially impact me as well? Karin's words. The Kusagakure Anbu was terrified, his lips twitching, and he kept blinking, sending hidden messages to Karin. Unfortunately, he overestimated children's capacity to read faces. Karin didn't notice him at all. Pops. I called you Pops, can you take me to see my mom? Karin begged with a little face. The Kusagakure Anbu swiftly focused his attention on Whitebeard's face. He was surprised to see that Whitebeard's grin faded with time.
Such a shift in expression made him shiver. Garararara. However, Whitebeard laughed even more heartily, joyfully, and heroically in the following moment. Naruto, that stupid son, hesitated for quite a while. Kakashi, that white-haired brat, even refused me more than a dozen times, each time for a different reason.
Unexpectedly, you little brat, are so decisive. Whitebeard scooped her up beneath Karin's scared gaze.
But Karin's horrified look swiftly transformed to wonder. Because Whitebeard did nothing to her. Instead, he placed her little body on his shoulder and let her sit on his strong shoulder. Little brat, in the Whitebeard Pirates, once you shout, Pops, you can't regret it. Whitebeard cracked a smile and said, I've heard your name from your mother. Karin, right, Garararara. From today on, you are my first daughter in the ninja world. Karin, the Pops you just called means father. Gurararara. Pops, father. Karin's little face was astonished. Her small mind didn't flip around for a second. I'm going to have a father. She was astonished. Her little brain was overwhelmed.
Whitebeard went to Karin and inquired, does your arm still hurt? Karin nodded. Being bitten through the skin and flesh by teeth makes a youngster considerably stronger than her contemporaries. Brat, do you know medical ninjutsu? Whitebeard said, looking at the perplexed Kusagakure Anbu. No, not very proficient. The Kusagakure Anbu was terrified by Whitebeard's stare and quickly amended his words. But I can try. The medical ninjutsu of this Kusagakure Anbu is quite bad. He had used up all of his power and was sweating heavily. As a consequence, he was only able to cure Karin's arm wound and not remove the scar. Karin gazed at her still slightly sore wound. She then glanced at Whitebeard's concerned expression. For whatever reason, scenes of her and her mother being tormented by ninjas in Kusagakure raced through her thoughts. During her childhood in Kusagakure, no one else cared for her as much as her mother. Even if Whitebeard just inquired about her wound, a warm current flowed through Karin's heart.
She truly lacks love and affection. Otherwise, in the future, she wouldn't be unexpectedly attached to someone because of an unintentional life-saving courtesy.
Whitebeard protected her, destroyed the terrible man in her heart, and allowed her to see her mother. Whitebeard was concerned about the damage on her arm. Outsiders notice these little details. In Karin's universe,
they're all significant deals. Pops, Karin really said, "Thank you. My mother once said that she wanted me to be a person who knows how to be grateful. In the future, if you get hurt, you can directly bite me so that you can recover." Ow.
Karin had just ended a statement of appreciation that seemed natural to her. She buried her head with her hands and yelled out in anguish.
Whitebeard gave her a flick of his finger. Karin's eyes welled up with tears as she felt the sorrow and confusion of being mistreated.
She gazed at Whitebeard perplexedly. "Fool," said Whitebeard, "this is your body. No one in the ninja world has the right to use your body for healing. Your body should not be so abused." "Huh?" Karin murmured. "But the ninjas in the village treat my mother like this, right? My blood is exactly the same as my mother's, and it can also cure diseases." "Karin, do you like this?" Whitebeard paused his rebuke and inquired sincerely. Karin was taken aback. She shivered at the mildly hurting cut on her forearm.
"I don't like it." She sniffed hard, her eyes were a bit red, and she felt extremely mistreated. "But if I don't do this, the village will abandon me and my mother. Since you called me Pops, then from today on," Whitebeard said, "no one can use your body for healing. No one can force your will. From now on, this village is no longer your home. Your new home in the future will be the Whitebeard Pirates."
"I guarantee these words with the name of Whitebeard."
Whitebeard's noble soul went straight into the sky. Everything he uttered struck Karin as loud. Ninja children are often precocious. Even though Karin isn't very old, she understands what Whitebeard means by these statements. The intrinsic Kagura mind's eye. It also enables Karin to detect the truth in Whitebeard's breath.
All he said, "They're all true. It happened in an instant." Karin's eyes couldn't keep back the tears. Her small face was moist from the hot tears that streamed out, and she'd never felt so warm in her heart. This was undoubtedly her first meeting with Whitebeard. She had only timidly addressed him as Pops. Nonetheless, he showed her unparalleled attention. Pops. Father. New home. Family. Karin had no clue where the urge originated from.
All she knew was that she really wanted to speak those two words. So she yelled, "Pops." I added a sentence. Thank you. Gararararara. Whitebeard's solemn expression quickly melted into a very pleasant and heroic laugh. "Silly daughter. Don't stammer while speaking. Louder. Say it again." Karin took a big breath. Her small face reddened, and she yelled with all her strength, "Pops. Thank you. Garararara." This scenario involves identifying a daughter and a father. They left the Kusagakure Anbu next to them shocked. So, is it really that easy to please this giant? If he addresses him as Pops, can I get a chance? But he thought that if he spoke these two things, he would be beaten to death. Oh, my God, what is going on with this young monster from the Uzumaki family? Can't she realize that this enormous guy was only kidding? Did she honestly agree? It is over. This small demon wouldn't irritate the behemoth, right? Could this potentially impact me as well? Karin's words. The Kusagakure Anbu was terrified, his lips twitching, and he kept blinking, sending hidden messages to Karin. Unfortunately, he exaggerated a child's capacity to read faces. Karin didn't notice him at all. Pops. I phoned you, Father. Could you take me to visit my mother? Karin begged with a little face. The Kusagakure Anbu swiftly focused his attention on Whitebeard's face. He was surprised to see that Whitebeard's grin faded with time. Such a shift in expression made him shiver. Gurarararara. However, Whitebeard laughed even harder, happier, and more heroically the following time. Naruto, that idiotic son, hesitated for quite some time. Kakashi, that white-haired child,
rebuffed me more than a dozen times, each for a different reason. Unexpectedly, you little brat, are so decisive. Whitebeard lifted her up, despite Karin's horrified look. But Karin's horrified look swiftly transformed to wonder. Because Whitebeard did nothing to her. Instead, he placed her little body on his shoulder and let her sit on his strong shoulder. Little brat. You can't go wrong by shouting, "Pops," among the Whitebeard pirates. Whitebeard smiled and added, I learned your name from your mother. Karin, correct? Gurarararara. You are my first daughter in the ninja world starting today.
Karin, the pops you mentioned implies father. Gurararara.
Pops. Father. Karin's little face was astonished.
Her small mind didn't flip around for a second. I'm going to have a father.
She was astonished. Her little brain was overwhelmed. Does your arm still hurt? Whitebeard cocked his head and questioned Karin. Overloaded. Karin nodded her head. Being bitten through the skin and flesh by teeth makes a youngster considerably stronger than her contemporaries. Brat, do you know medical ninjutsu? Whitebeard's eyes shifted to the bewildered Kusagakure Anbu. No, not very proficient. The Kusagakure Anbu was terrified by Whitebeard's stare and quickly amended his words. But I can try.
The medical ninjutsu of this Kusagakure Anbu is quite bad.
He had used up all of his power and was sweating heavily. As a consequence, he was only able to cure Karin's arm wound and not remove the scar. Karin gazed at her still slightly sore wound. She then glanced at Whitebeard's concerned expression. For whatever reason, scenes of her and her mother being tormented by ninjas in Kusagakure raced through her thoughts. During her childhood in Kusagakure, no one else cared for her as much as her mother. Even if Whitebeard just inquired about her wound, a warm current flowed through Karin's heart.
She truly lacks love and affection. Otherwise, in the future, she wouldn't be unexpectedly attached to someone because of an unintentional life-saving courtesy. Whitebeard protected her, destroyed the terrible man in her heart, and allowed her to see her mother. Whitebeard was concerned about the damage on her arm. Outsiders notice these little details. In Karin's universe, they're all significant deals. Pops. Karin truly replied, thank you. My mother once mentioned that she wanted me to be someone who understands gratitude. In the future, if you are harmed, you can bite me to heal. Ow. Karin had just ended a statement of appreciation that seemed natural to her. She buried her head with her hands and yelled out in anguish. Whitebeard gave her a flick of his finger. Karin's eyes welled up with tears as she felt the sorrow and confusion of being mistreated. She gazed at Whitebeard perplexedly. Fool, Whitebeard said, this is your body. Nobody in the ninja world has the authority to utilize your body for healing. Your body should not be so abused.
Huh? Karin remarked hesitantly, but the ninjas in the village treat my mother like whey, right? My blood is identical to my mother's, and it can also treat ailments. Karin, do you like this? Whitebeard set aside his censure and inquired earnestly. Karin was taken aback. She shivered at the mildly hurting cut on her forearm. I don't like it. She sniffed hard, her eyes were a bit red, and she felt deeply wronged. But if I don't do this, the village will abandon me and my mother.
Since you called me, Pops, no one can use your body for healing from this day forward, Whitebeard remarked. Nobody can compel you to do anything.
From now on, this village is not your home. Your new home in the future will be with the Whitebeard pirates. I guarantee these words with the name of Whitebeard. Whitebeard's noble soul went straight into the sky. Everything he uttered struck Karin as loud. Ninja children are often precocious. Even though Karin isn't very old, she understands what Whitebeard means by these statements.
The intrinsic Kagura mind's eye. It also enables Karin to detect the truth in Whitebeard's breath. All he said, they're all true. It happened in an instant. Karin's eyes couldn't keep back the tears. Her small face was moist from the hot tears that streamed out, and she'd never felt so warm in her heart. This was undoubtedly her first meeting with Whitebeard. She had only timidly addressed him as Pops. Nonetheless, he showed her unparalleled attention. Pops, father, new home, family. Karin had no clue where the urge originated from.
All she knew was that she really wanted to speak those 2 words. So she yelled, "Pops!" I added a sentence. Thank you."
Grrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr silly daughter. Don't stammer while speaking. Louder. Say it again. Karin took a big breath, her small face reddened, and she yelled with all her strength, Pops. Thank you. Garararara. This scenario involves identifying a daughter and a father. They left the Kusagakure Anbu next to them shocked. So, is it really that easy to please this giant?
If he addresses him as, Pops, can I get a chance? But he thought that if he spoke these two things, he would be beaten to death. Meanwhile, on the other side, hiss, my fingertips, a Kusagakure Chunin who had fortunately survived took a quick inhale. Discovered that he had lost 3 fingers from his right hand. And a stick punctured his abdomen. The anguish from his inside organs caused him to break out in a cold sweat, which soaked his back. The blood poured out like a busted wine barrel. The sensation of blood loss made him disoriented, as if he was suffering from heatstroke. Pain kept him awake. It was terrible. He quickly attempted to utilize chakra to momentarily halt the bleeding.
It hurts. Damn giant. The anguish of losing fingers made him curse out loud. And that damn traitor, our Kusagakure village kindly took in her and her daughter, and she actually betrayed Kusagakure village were. Just as he was straining to stand up with his damaged hand.
Suddenly, he heard a voice. Don't you dare speak ill of Pops. The voice sounded infantile, like a tiny devil's. The Kusagakure Chunin looked about in surprise. He saw a blonde tiny demon that appeared not far behind him at one point. The tiny demon looked familiar. Wait. The grass ninja village Chunin's eyes widened as he recalled and murmured in horror. It's that blonde little devil next to the giant. If the blonde tiny demon is present, could the gigantic be nearby? This notion terrified him to the point that his hair stood on edge. He couldn't help but glance around, but there were no giants around, only this blonde little demon.
Huh, the blonde brat. Did he get lost? You should apologize to Pops. Naruto puffed out his cheeks in rage. It was you guys from the Kusagakure village who started it, and now you're still badmouthing Pops. Brat. The sharp pain in his hand irritated the Kusagakure Chunin, who focused his eyes on Naruto. Despite the agony, a sadistic smirk appeared on his face. You showed up just in time, perfect to be used as a hostage. That manner, he could securely leave Kusagakure village. To avoid being the leader, his other intact hand had already drawn a kunai, and with a quick stride beneath his boots, he arrived in front of Naruto nearly in an instant. His kunai was going to be put around Naruto's neck. However, an unexpected sight unfolded before his eyes. This blonde brat did respond. Yes, Naruto felt a blackness before his eyes as the Kusagakure Chunin vanished, and then an additional person emerged in front of him. Naruto was surprised and hastily leaned back. His steps continued retracting. This was only an intuitive response of the body, but it resulted in a several meter space between him and the Kusagakure Chunin. This left the opposing party shocked. Tisk. The Kusagakure Chunin spit up a mouthful of blood froth. It seems that even a brat is not a straightforward character. But, after all, it's just a brat. Darn it, so you're also a very horrible man. Naruto also carried a kunai that he had picked up from the ground earlier. Ha, kunai, aren't your hands shaking as you hold that iron?
The Kusagakure Chunin snorted. The kunai is a bit heavy. He brazenly unleashed the deadly purpose against his body.
This caused Naruto to unwittingly swallow a mouthful of saliva. A Chunin who has slain many people unleashes his intent in front of a youngster. It can undoubtedly instill terror in this youngster. Naruto was the same. He was only 5 years old. His hand holding the kunai trembled slightly, not because it was heavy, but due to an innate anxiety in his heart. No, Naruto clenched his teeth, and his perplexed and terrified small face was pushed into the corner. I'm Whitebeard's son. I am also a member of the Whitebeard Pirates. Pops once stated, when I grow up, I'll be captain of the new Whitebeard Pirates first team. Naruto instantly bit his own tongue tip. The ache made him more alert. I can't be afraid. Naruto, blood in his lips, scowled at Chunin, and his little frame emitted a sense of deadly purpose. He could not lose face for the Whitebeard pirates. He couldn't lose face for Daddy. If he was terrified of even a ninja, what sort of Hokage would he be? What type of captain for the Whitebeard pirates' first squad would he be? HMPH. You are quite impressive. The Kusagaker Chunin was taken aback, but said, but after all, you're just a little devil. You should be very significant to that behemoth, right? He immediately got an idea. If I capture this little devil, I'll be able to enslave that giant. In this manner, that behemoth may be my combat slave. As he stated this, he felt a discomfort in his belly. The discomfort caused him to break out in a cold sweat and curse. Damn it, that shit-like giant. Don't insult my pops. The little body exploded with more speed than its age. Naruto's month-long overload suicide weight training took effect at this point. Naruto grasped the kunai he'd taken up. Without understanding any techniques, he rushed straight at the Kusagaker Chunin. Like an agitated piglet. What? The Kusagaker Chunin was surprised. But in the next second, he demonstrated murderous intent. Just as he was going to move his hand, he realized that it was being controlled by someone. He quickly turned his head to see. He was shocked. Hata, Hataki Kakashi. Kakashi seized the man's wrists. A lifeless fisheye looked at him. How can a dignified ninja kill a child? Kakashi's calm words just dropped. Pucci. The Kusagaker Chunin's eyes expanded as his pupils trembled. He carefully gazed down at his abdomen. Then, Naruto, who was running towards him, had already moved to his front, and the kunai in his hands was plunged into his torso. Naruto did not anticipate things to be this way. He merely did not want the other person to talk badly of his father. Every time the other party mentioned anything unpleasant about Pops, his rage grew. Warm blood had already saturated Naruto's palms. The sensation of a kunai penetrating a human body is identical to that of butchering a pig. It entered with a plop. Naruto. Kakashi stopped the Kusagaker Chunin, but not Naruto. This is the world outside of Konoha. He stared at Naruto and stated, if you can't stand this feeling, you should go back to Konoha. Kakashi's remarks inspired Naruto. Naruto was about to let go of his hand when he abruptly clutched the kunai fiercely and shoved it further into his body with force. Until the kunai was totally gone. Naruto, who was just 5 years old, clenched his teeth and said, I must follow Pops. I, too, have a strong determination. This is my ninja way, Uzumaki Naruto. Hey. Hey. Blood poured out of the Kusagaker Chunin's lips. His expression was one of despair and disbelief. A headache. It seems like I unintentionally made your will even stronger. Under Kakashi's mask, he displayed a grin only he could recognize. He was unsure whether he had done it on purpose or by mistake. But children should not murder people. You will be left with psychological shadows. Wait till you mature a little bit. Kakashi twisted off the neck of this Kusagaker Chunin, finishing the other person's life. The unrest in Kusagaker village came and went fast. Some locals had no idea what had transpired. All they knew was that there were 2 waves of disruptions in the hamlet, which terrified them into fleeing to the rear hills for safety. Then there came a thundering roar. This was followed by what seemed to be an angry growl. Finally, the whole earth began trembling violently. Those sheltering on the back mountain watched as several structures in Kusagaker village fell. They also saw billowing dust rising into the sky. Even sheltering in the rear mountain, the dust blinded them. The whole scenario seemed like the end of the planet. A handful of fearful citizens ventured to speak out only after the ruckus in Kusagaker village had subsided. Gulp. Someone gulped anxiously, looked around the Kusagaker village, and mumbled in dread, did my home collapse? What on earth happened? Is this war? It shouldn't be, right? How could a conflict evaporate so quickly? It looks like something exploded. What exactly are those ninjas doing? They've demolished so many houses. Where are we supposed to live? Shush. You cannot let the ninjas in the village hear that. Be cautious, or you'll be expelled from the community. There should still be people who haven't retreated to the back mountain, right? The surrounding hubbub irritated the Daimyo of the Land of Grass. He and his retainers were also hiding on the mountain beyond Kusagakure village.
This godforsaken house lacked air conditioning and fans. The heat caused him to repeatedly fan himself with his spherical fan. He couldn't take it any longer after fanning his hand until it was uncomfortable.
Let's go. Let's go down and look. The daimyo of the land of grass instructed his retainers behind him. There is no activity down there presently. I suppose the intruders have been dealt with. I don't want to remain in this godforsaken land for much longer. Daimyo-sama, be careful. A retainer disguised as a samurai frantically said, "What if? Are you challenging my words?" The daimyo looked at him coldly. "Ah, no, this." The retainer was sweating excessively. The daimyo covered his eyes with his wide fan and murmured unhappily, "Kill him. I do not want disobedient individuals. Kill him cleanly. I cannot stomach too many gory scenes." "Wait, Daimyo-sama, it is a misunderstanding. I am really faithful to you." "Ah. Puchi." Sigh. The daimyo of the land of grass expressed pity. "It's a shame you're too unattractive to be included in my specimen collection. You've passed up a chance to establish a national reputation. Let's go. Carry me down." He spoke to his other retainers. "Yes, Daimyo-sama." The daimyo of the land of grass actions alarmed his surviving retainers and a group of people sheltering in the back mountain significantly. The whole back mountain fell silent. The corpses on the ground continued to bleed. That was creepy. A group of horrified citizens who dared not make a sound could only watch as two retainers struggled to carry the daimyo's several hundred-kilogram corpse down the mountain. It did not take long. The daimyo of the land of grass had people bring him down since they had already descended from the mountain. He grumbled, "This mountain route is so narrow that the carriage cannot be pulled up. Walking is uncomfortable."
"Lord Daimyo, it's our lack of skill in carrying people." The retainers had no option but to quickly apologize.
The daimyo of the land of grass disregarded them. He clutched a circular fan in his hand and glanced forward. His brow wrinkled severely. "Has the place where I'm now residing also collapsed? What are the ninjas doing? Don't they know to send someone to protect where I live? What's with those brats?" The daimyo of the land of grass peered ahead at several brats from Kusagakure village. A bunch of shabby Kusagakure kids. He did not like what he saw. "Lord Daimyo, those children should not have had time to flee. They run slower than adults, but they seem to have survived the explosion." The daimyo of the land of grass retainers immediately clarified for their master. "They're too ugly. They're dressed too ugly." After commenting with a scowl, the daimyo softly fanned his fan as if to fan away a non-existent odor. "Later, go and talk to the leader of the Kusagakure village and ask him to sell these ugly brats in the village." His placid tone conveyed a tinge of disdain. "Selling these brats may also help to sustain our town. After all, hasn't he always done this?" Okay. A retainer coughed uncomfortably and said, "We shall discuss this with the chief of Kusagakure village. The next time Lord Daimyo comes here, you will not see these ugly brats." Exactly how the daimyo of the land of grass was walking. As he went past the gathering of youngsters, his chubby bulk came to a halt. "I've changed my mind. Who made me the daimyo of the land grass born with a compassionate heart?" "Lord Daimyo, what do you mean?" The retainer couldn't help but inquire hesitantly. The daimyo's fat-filled face lit up with enthusiasm. "If we can't hold a giant skull specimen exhibition, we can also hold a child specimen exhibition." Karin, where are you?" An unexpected voice sounded from afar. Everyone stared in the direction of the sound. They saw a lady clad in battle gear with vivid red long hair searching for someone in the wrecked ninja village. This individual, it was Uzumaki Fushi. Uzumaki Fushi, whose blood had been fully sucked by the town of Kusagakure, was too weak to open her Kagura-mind eye, and could only scream out for her daughter by voice. The daimyo of the land of grass suddenly smiled. "What a rare hair color, it doesn't look like it was dyed afterward." He was anxious to move, drooling with want. If this head were made into a specimen, it would certainly make a fine collection. He said rapidly, "Quick, go and catch her. Don't let her get away." Uzumaki Fushi didn't expect to run across a gathering of weird individuals while hunting for her daughter. Their outfit did not resemble ninjas or inhabitants from Kusagakure village. They looked more like traditional samurai. She observed that the gang was going directly at her. And they'd encircled her. Quote, "Who are you?" When Uzumaki Fushi saw the samurai sword in their hands, she automatically reached for her kunai. But she instantly realized she was merely a blood bag gadget. She had no ninja tools with her. Daimyo of the land grass, specifically want your head. It's just your bad luck that you happen to have red hair, stated a hefty servant with a samurai sword, sneering. Damn it, Uzumaki Fushi was visibly nervous. She knew she was in a vulnerable position right now. She could manage 2 or 3 people barehanded. However, there were over a dozen persons in this group. Pops, Mom's scent is over here. I see her. It's Mom. Mom. Just suddenly, a clear and lovely voice emerged from behind Uzumaki Fushi. The child's voice was full of enthusiasm. Uzumaki Fushi abruptly turned around. Karin. She noticed her daughter, who was perched on Whitebeard's shoulder, waving at her. Garararara. I was wondering why I always smell something familiar yet strange in this broken village. A strong voice followed. Whitebeard smiled as he looked at the eye-catching fat figure. I think I heard someone call you, Daimyo. So you're the Daimyo of the land of grass, huh? Brat. So it's you who wants my head, huh? So it's you who wants my head, huh? It's a simple inquiry, but under Whitebeard's commanding presence, the mood instantly turns tense. The Daimyo of the land of grass's eyes widen in surprise. He stares up at Whitebeard, stunned. Whitebeard's intimidating appearance, mixed with the atmosphere of authority he exudes, makes one feel as if a massive boulder is pushing down on their heart. The setting gets strangely hushed. Giant. Gulp. The Daimyo of the land of grass takes an anxious swallow. His aristocratic demeanor is gone. He flees because he is becoming more afraid. As he goes back, he treads on many of his retainers' feet, which weigh hundreds of kilograms. The retainers gasp with anguish, but do not say a thing. Sweat streams down the daimyo's fat cheeks, making him seem soaked in rain. He fanned himself with a circular fan, hoping to cool down with the air it produced. Only when he's within 10 meters from Whitebeard does he feel relatively safe. What are those ninjas doing? I pay them almost 100 million ryo in military expenses every year, and this is how they defend against enemies. They should go to the military court. In his distress, the daimyo curses his ineffective ninjas. The retainers surround the Uzumaki Fushi. Also, extremely tense. They look at one another, wondering what to do next. Suddenly, the daimyo of the land of grass saw someone disguised as an Anbu ninja. Seeing him as his rescuer, he orders, "You. Yes, you. Stand by my side." He is fully aware of the talents of his retainers. While they can manage regular individuals, another tale involves dealing with a giant that broke into Kusagakure village. Thus, he really needs a ninja to defend him. But he knows the ninja has disregarded him. In other words, the Anbu ninja did not dare to communicate with the daimyo. The Anbu ninja understands where the power rests in this circumstance. In comparison to his own life, how important is the daimyo? My apologies, Lord Daimyo. The Anbu ninja clenches his teeth and draws a line over his forehead protector. I am no longer a Kusagakure ninja, I no longer serve the Kusagakure village. He rapidly removes himself from the community. Realizing the way of the world, he declares, there's only one son in my world, and that's Whitebeard. The daimyo is stunned. You. Garararara. So you no longer want my head. I. The daimyo's hands are sweaty. His voice trembles with terror. I am the daimyo of the land of grass. Yes, that is it. I am the daimyo. But it seems he has regained some confidence. His title seemed to give him some confidence. His brain works hard, attempting to find a solution, and he fans himself to relieve the strain and pressure. His voice gradually becomes more steady. He even takes a more conciliatory tone, saying, perhaps there was a misunderstanding between us. But it's evident now. If I am not incorrect, you have already assassinated the chief of the Kusagakure village. Whitebeard remained mute, just gazing at him. The daimyo's pressure, which he had just recently relieved, returned. His tone quickened. Ninjas cannot assassinate the daimyo because he controls the country's economic lifeblood. In the ninja world, the daimyo is more significant than the town itself. Because I can give money to the ninja village, I can give a lot of money to the ninja village. If you want to take over the Kusagaker village and become the new leader of the Kusagaker village, I will fully support you. From then on, I will give 200 million to the Kusagaker village every year. I will give you 200 million every year to develop the Kusagaker village. At the same time, I won't interfere with anything in the ninja village. What do you think? The regularity with which the daimyo of the land grass waved his fan increased, and his hard-pressed uneasiness erupted once again. Facing someone like Whitebeard, a peaceful attitude just could not be maintained. He instantly comprehended. Whitebeard's expression as he gazed at him was that of an idiot. The following moment, Whitebeard's remarks got through the daimyo's psychological defense. "Noble brat, when you're dead, isn't everything you have mine?" Daimyo says. He was in total terror. Giant, if you dare to touch Lord Daimyo, you will become a target for everyone in the ninja world. A retainer of the daimyo of the land of grass mustered up courage and shouted, "The land of grass will issue a bounty for you in the ninja world. All ninjas in the entire ninja world will hunt you down and see you as an enemy. Also, your family and loved ones will also be bountied by the land of grass. Your family and loved ones will be hunted down by the entire ninja world. If you dare to lay a hand on Lord Daimyo, it won't just be you who are implicated, but your entire family." Not just threatening him with a reward, but are they also endangering him and his family? Whitebeard showed a tinge of sadness. Even if he was a proud pirate, there was one boundary that others just could not cross. Whitebeard's bottom line is family. Whether they are assaulting his family, planning against his family, or threatening him with his family, Whitebeard considers them to be his biggest adversary in this life. These individuals are in front of him. I stepped directly on a landmine. Garararara. Little brats, those who dare to threaten me, have almost been wiped out on the seas. Whitebeard's laughter contained a tinge of rage and murderous purpose. "Karin, close your eyes." Whitebeard instructed Karin. Karin hurriedly shut her eyes. Perhaps she felt that shutting her eyes wasn't secure enough, so she covered them with both little hands. It was also the moment she closed her eyes. Whitebeard immediately exploded. He moved from wielding his sword with one to both hands. Under the startled gaze of the daimyo of the land of grass and all his retainers, Whitebeard sliced horizontally without hesitation. A noble in the ninja world. Is there a daimyo in the world? A feudal lord? A king? Regardless of how unique the other party's identity is, in Whitebeard's eyes, they are merely a clump of dog feces by the side of the road. As long as the other person does not endanger his family, Whitebeard will merely see them as a mobile ATM. After the opposing party threatens his family, Whitebeard has previously considered this kind of individual as good as dead. Wait. The daimyo of the land of grass, who meant to slay his family members, said in fear. Unfortunately, it was already too late. Murakumogiri's powerful sword ripped through victims in an instant. Those daimyo retainers were unable to react or evade Whitebeard's blow. Splurt. Their corpses had been chopped in half at the waist. The top part soared into the sky, leaving the bottom half standing in place, with a huge number of internal organs dispersed around. The Murakumogiri avoided making contact with the daimyo of the land of grass. But before the daimyo could be relieved, the intense wind pressure from this attack, like an unseen sword, sliced through the daimyo's body. Splurt. Blood and fat were splashed. He died on the spot. Seems like I'm a step too late. Kakashi, Naruto's companion, came late. He mumbled to himself as he gazed at the victims scattered over the ground. Now, it's not just a diplomatic incident. Could it be the daimyo of the land of grass? Kakashi's forehead was soaked with perspiration. He realized that even if he hadn't been late, he wouldn't have been able to alter anything. Honestly, despite his vast experience in the ninja world and participation in the Third Great Ninja War, he had never seen anybody murder a noble. let alone seeing someone murder a daimyo. In the ninja world, ordinary nobility and daimyos are very different. Ordinary nobility, although difficult to provoke, are rather common in a nation. Similar to the ninja clans of Konohagakure village. Just without the legacy of ninjutsu. However, the daimyo is not like the others. In the land of grass, there is only one daimyo. A country's daimyo is analogous to the Hokage in Konohagakure village. Whitebeard's activities, equivalent to killing the Hokage. Pops, Naruto, who was next to Kakashi, dashed towards Whitebeard like a fleeing fox. He exclaimed with delight, "Pops! Just now, Kakashi and I teamed up and defeated a ninja from Kusagakure village." The arrival of Naruto, the hot-blooded stupid son. Whitebeard was in a nasty mood. His grin no longer held wrath, but sheer joy, pure, hearty laughing. Whitebeard laughed heartily and said, "Garararara. Foolish son, you've made some little progress. Which level of ninja did you defeat?" Uncle Kakashi said it was a Chunin. Naruto had already moved to Whitebeard's side. For the gory scene before him, Naruto was already uneasy. Naruto has witnessed numerous visual shocks after his pop during this period. He used to get pale and even vomit on the spot, but now he doesn't. He has seen multiple thrilling transformations.
Huh? Suddenly, Naruto noticed a red-haired child sitting on Whitebeard's shoulder.
It seemed to be a tiny girl. "Pops, who is she?" Naruto scratched his head.
"I'm a little perplexed." "Foolish son, her name is Karin," Whitebeard said. "She is now my daughter. She is also a new family member."
"Huh, family, huh, daughter." Naruto and Karin's mother's surprised voices were virtually simultaneous. "Is she your new daughter, Pops?" "She's around my age." "Karin, such a great name." Naruto's eyes expanded. At the moment, Karin, who was sitting on Whitebeard's shoulder, discreetly opened her eyes, and while she couldn't see anything, she could hear Whitebeard speaking to someone. When Karin saw the dead scattered over the ground, her small face abruptly became as pale as paper. After seeing her mother again, she felt a little better, and when she looked at Naruto, her expression was similarly perplexed and introverted. "Hello." Naruto gave Karin a thumbs up and smiled as brightly as he could.
In the dark and bloodied Kusagakure village, it seemed unusually sudden.
"My name is Uzumaki Naruto." Naruto's smile came from his heart, and he was very happy right now. "I am also Whitebeard's son. I am his first son in the ninja world. You are Pop's daughter, thus we shall become family from now on." Uzumaki Naruto. Karin couldn't help but hesitate, wondering whether Naruto's grin was really contagious.
She got up the strength to say, "My name is Karin. We are family," she remarked with a solemn expression on her small face.
In that moment, the most perplexed person at the scene was Karin's mother, who never thought that after going out to carry out a do-or-die operation, lived by a fluke, became a rogue ninja, and returned to the hamlet, her daughter Karin suddenly became her father.
Karin embraced Whitebeard as her father. This might also be a positive thing.
Uzumaki Fushi was aware that she could not offer a decent atmosphere for Karin with her own power.
Being able to locate a community like Kusagakure community was already her limit as a mother.
She knew. She failed as a mother. "Mom, you are also my family," Karin abruptly added, trying to talk in a serious tone, but compared to her age, this serious tone was very charming. "Mom, oh." Naruto clapped his hands together, with a look of great wisdom on his face, and suddenly realized, "So you are the daughter of that older sister." "Oh, I remember now." Whitebeard also saw Uzumaki Fushi. This lady is barely in her 20s, she should have been left with Karin when she was less than 20. Now, Karin is around the same age as Naruto, at around 5 or 6 years old. That is, Uzumaki Fushi is only approximately 24 or 25 years old, and in Whitebeard's eyes, she is still a child among children. Uzumaki Fushi is very thin and malnourished. She genuinely has no will to live. 25 in the gloomy cave of Kusagakure village. If Karin hadn't supported her religion, she would have most likely committed suicide long ago. "Red-haired kid," Uzumaki Fushi said, "in the entire ninja world, Besides Karin, do you have any other family members? What about the husband who gave birth to Karin with you? Uzumaki Fushi was taken aback and spoke quietly. My husband is also a survivor of the Uzumaki clan, but he abandoned us mother and daughter. What an irresponsible guy. Whitebeard frowned. Red-haired kid. In Uzumaki Fushi's shocked look, Whitebeard stretched out to her and said, "Be my daughter starting today." Ah, the words almost startled Uzumaki Fushi. She glanced up to see Whitebeard in front of her. That genuine expression could not be manufactured. Uzumaki Fushi contemplated. The opposing party is serious. She never imagined that someone would want to adopt her as a daughter, much alone become a part of her family, especially someone she had never met before. Since Uzumaki Fushi has taken her daughter to Kusagakure village, she had never felt warm. Every day, she goes through anguish and misery. Honestly, when she discovered that Whitebeard had recognized her daughter Karin as his daughter, she felt glad for her. There was some jealousy, which she could not understand. Uzumaki Fushi has been relocated since she was a child. Her parents perished on the day when Uzushiogakure village was devastated some years ago. She hasn't had any family members since then. It took a lot of work to get a spouse, but he abandoned her, and she lost her family again. Until Karin was born. The term, family, is incredibly opulent and difficult to acquire for an orphan like Uzumaki Fushi. But now, there is a guy called Whitebeard who is prepared to be her family and acknowledge her as an orphan. Mom cried. Karin sat on Whitebeard's shoulder and looked blankly at her mother's hot tears. Karin could feel it, her mother. I didn't feel sad, but rather a peculiar thrill. That delight changed to sorrow. It seemed natural to Karin. The inner rush of passion and excitement caused Uzumaki Fushi to entirely forget. If she agreed, how should she and her daughter address their roles as mother and daughter? She spoke up. Pops. Garararara. Whitebeard's boisterous chuckle boomed across Kusagakure village. Nothing made Whitebeard happier today than adopting two children. Uzumaki Fushi, Uzumaki Karin. Beginning today, this mother-daughter combo from the Uzumaki clan has joined the new Whitebeard pirates. Stupid son, I have found you another family member. Remember, in the Whitebeard pirates, family members must trust each other and not hurt each other. Whitebeard's statements seemed to be aimed at Naruto, Karin, and Uzumaki Fushi. I will not tolerate any suspicion or harm among you. I will punish anyone who breaks this rule. When Whitebeard spoke the final statement, his tone turned incredibly serious, reminiscent of Blackbeard Teach. He would not allow such a catastrophe to be repeated. The apparition of a Teach resulted in the deaths of several family members, which Whitebeard considered unacceptable. During the Summit War, he ultimately lacked the courage to confront Teach, resulting in a worse tragedy. If this were to happen again, if there were someone like Teach, he would no longer be soft-hearted. Pops, rest assured, Naruto's expression was stiff and serious. I will absolutely not hurt my family, and I will absolutely not allow others to hurt my family. Uzumaki Fushi brushed away tears. She was aware that her performance may be humiliating in front of her daughter. But she couldn't contain her feelings. Uzumaki Fushi took a big breath. She was serious. Since I chose to recognize you as my father, I will use my life to follow your will, Pops. I'm like, Mom, and Karin turned to Naruto, and like brother Naruto. Garararara. Whitebeard chuckled joyfully, his crescent-shaped beard trembling. You are indeed my children. The conflict at Marineford cast a pall over Whitebeard's heart. At the moment, completely dispersed, Kakashi observed the spectacle in quiet. Despite the fact that the four of them had no blood tie and two were from the Uzumaki clan, they had just met today. Why did they have such harmony? Simply because they all identified Whitebeard as their father. Can a single Pops word improve their relationship? Speaking about which, why didn't they decline Whitebeard's invitation? Recognizing someone as a father is a huge matter in life. How did they make such an easy decision? Without consideration, without thinking about it, Kakashi suspected that this was the special appeal of Whitebeard's nature, the type of charm that causes individuals who do not have a family to trust Whitebeard. After considerable thinking, Kakashi concluded that this was the only option. With that stated, Whitebeard has joined the so-called new Whitebeard pirate group, which currently has 4 members. One of them is assisted by the Nine Tails, while the other 2 are members of the Uzumaki clan who do not seem to be easy to deal with. How long has it been since? This is fantastic. ... The next day, early dawn. A group of villagers from Kusagakure settlement who had hidden in the rear mountain returned to the settlement in shaky groups. They all sought temporary sanctuary on the back mountain. They did not carry any supplies with them. If they continued to hide in the back hills, they would run out of food, much alone clean, pure water. Now, they could only brace themselves. Return to the village. So many houses in the village have collapsed. Someone swallowed hard, absolutely shocked. At least half of the houses have collapsed, especially those where the ninjas live, not one is intact. Look over there, someone else screamed in horror. The ninja's office building has collapsed. It was a building with more than 10 floors, but now it's only 1 or 2. Look at all these corpses, all of them are our fellow village ninjas. Was there really a war last night? Did our village experience defeat? There are around 200 ninjas in our town. How could we lose? Could our leader already have? Shush! Don't say rubbish. What appeared before these citizens was a shattered Kusagakure village, almost unrecognizable from its previous condition. 2/3 of the village's structures had fallen. The majority of the remaining 1/3 of the village's structures have been damaged to some degree. The ground was littered with fractures everywhere. Many of these fissures had started to leak groundwater, resulting in a complicated network of rivers. A thick network of waterways runs through the whole ninja village. Upon first glimpse, it was quite startling. Over there are 2 ninjas. A group of peasants from Kusagakure village saw 2 ninjas working nearby. They quickly flocked over. What happened last night, Ninja-sama? Was there an enemy invasion? Did Kusagakure village win? As soon as they approached the 2 ninjas, someone couldn't help but ask one question after another. The 2 ninjas were survivors of Kusagakure village. They were all dressed in bandages as they cleaned up the village's rubble. Seeing a group of individuals approach to ask inquiries, one of the ninjas, head bowed in sorrow, pointed to his empty forehead, where there was no ninja headband. He said, "What do you think?" He then disregarded these folks and began to clean up the wreckage, which they had been doing since previous night. Kusagakure village's people exchanged looks. The incident eventually calmed down. Another ninja on the side was more communicative, saying bluntly, "Kusagakure village has become a thing of the past. The leader, the prior head of Kusagakure village has already died. Only more than 30 of the village's almost 200 ninjas remain." He said something shocking. More than 1,000 houses in the village, more than 700 have been razed to the ground. The Daimyo, who was temporarily residing in the hamlet, went to heaven with the head of Kusagakure hamlet. Kusagakure village is now part of the Whitebeard pirate crew domain. The Kusagakure insignia will be removed from the settlement, and the Whitebeard pirate crew flag will be displayed throughout. After speaking these words with a lot of knowledge, he stopped and said, "This is what occurred last night. The last ninjas in Kusagakure village must listen to Whitebeard. He urged us to clean up the village's ruins." As his words dropped, the people of Kusagakure village were stunned. Which is to say, Kusagakure village changed its name in a single night. Did the Daimyo also perish in the last night's battle? That is a Daimyo. That has a place above all others. Was someone killed? Look, the ninja pointed not far away. Do you see that tall wooden pole over there? The flag with a black background and a white artwork is the Whitebeard pirate crew's banner. In reality, as he spoke these words, he was bewildered and felt as if he were dreaming. Overnight, his own ninja community was devastated. Who would have thought of an elegant ninja village? Would you be that vulnerable? On the other side, Naruto, acting like a tiny grown-up, stretched his small face and mimicked his father's attitude. Then he told Uzumaki Fushi and Karin, "Our Whitebeard pirates are, first and foremost, a pirate crew. The most essential thing a pirate crew can do is seize land, steal wealth, and recruit allies."
He was talking about the Whitebeard pirate's style. With the two new daughters his father had lately adopted. Uzumaki Fushi did not interrupt Naruto despite his eager and serious demeanor. Instead, she smiled as she listened to this brief adult conversation. Occupy territory, steal wealth, and recruit companions. Is this what Dad is doing now? Karin held her mother's tiny hand. Her little face was filled with bewilderment. That's correct. Naruto gave her a thumbs up, still badly copying Whitebeard's speech pattern. Karin, your comprehension is excellent. You are Whitebeard Pirate's family member.
We have already destroyed the Kusagaker village. Our jurisdiction now includes the whole Kusagaker village. This is known as occupying territory. Kusagaker village will now be required to pay us taxes on an annual basis. Of course, since this is our land, assaulting the Kusagaker village is the same as assaulting the Whitebeard pirates or inciting them. Pops once warned that if someone attempts to do this, the Whitebeard pirates would undoubtedly retaliate and annihilate the opposing group. Naruto has taken on the form of a pirate. It's only that this pirate doesn't want to become the Pirate King. After all, there is no idea of Pirate King in the ninja world.
He is a little pirate who aspires to outperform Hokage.
Recruiting buddies is simple, Naruto said. We are all family members adopted by Pops. This is a companionship recruitment campaign. Pops once remarked that family is the most important. The Whitebeard pirates had always been upholding. Uzumaki Fushi asked as Naruto became stranded. Oh, right, Naruto, who hadn't gone to school, suddenly realized. Pops once said that the Whitebeard pirates have always upheld the principle of family first. Family is everything. The Whitebeard pirates are a family.
Naruto feels he is more than just Pop's son. He is also the first crew member of the new Whitebeard pirates. He is responsible and obligated to explain certain things to two newcomers. In fact, he was also echoing what Whitebeard had already told to him.
And when he repeated it, it was still incomplete. Due to the hot-blooded imbecile has trouble remembering things clearly. Family, home. Uzumaki Fushi shivered slightly while gripping Karin's thin hand. Even though she was already an adult, confronted with these two magnificent words, she still found it difficult to keep calm. She focused on Naruto in front of her. Starting with yesterday night, is this youngster, who also goes by the surname Uzumaki, part of her family? With this idea in mind, Uzumaki Fushi's expression towards Naruto got increasingly kinder. Hee, Naruto said excitedly, like a small fox. And now, our Whitebeard pirate group has to plunder treasures. Pops told us to find out where the Kusagaker village hides its treasures.
Uncle Kakashi. Please? Naruto turned his head to stare at Kakashi, who was dumbfounded and covered in black lines. I know. Kakashi's lifeless fish eyes were full of resistance. But he had to make a compromise, because Naruto was not the one who asked him. Whitebeard asked him. Ninja art. Summoning jutsu. Kakashi pulled out a scroll, bit his thumb, and banged it hard into the scroll. Bang, woof woof woof. He summoned a troop of ninja dogs wearing Leaf Village headbands. This kind of summoning method caused Naruto's eyes to glow. Uncle Kakashi, can you teach me this? Naruto's eyes shone like headlights. Kakashi brushed Naruto's hair and firmly refused. Let's talk about it after you understand the three-body technique I taught you a few days ago. Kakashi, why did you call us out again? The only talking ninja dog, Pakun, had a sadder dog face than Kakashi. It even yawned. Kakashi placed one hand in his pocket and the other on Naruto's head. Pakun, you should be able to smell the ink of money, right? I can. Pakun was perplexed. You want me to track money? I don't like that smell. Money is the dirtiest thing that human have. Kakashi said, it would be best to find where the Kusagaker village hides their money. Pakun was bored. This doesn't seem like your style, Kakashi. Could it be that Whitebeard asked you to do this? Kakashi gazed at Pakun. Pakun gazed at Kakashi. Three eyes met. Silence without speech. Understood. Pakun, the dog, groaned dejectedly, realizing that his future as a dog would be challenging. Would he have to smell money all day? Kakashi told Naruto, if you follow Pakun, you'll be able to locate Kusagakure village's money.
Great, Naruto said, smiling brightly. The ninja dogs performed really well. Even though the majority of Kusagakure village lay in ruins, there was still a faint odor of blood in the air. They still located the location with the highest odor of money. It was beneath the fallen office building of Kusagakure village's leader. But there's a massive mound of wreckage from the fallen structure. Made Naruto scratch his head. Uncle, can you move these things? It wasn't until Karin tentatively suggested it. Naruto says, right, Kakashi says. Uncle Kakashi. Naruto gazed up at Kakashi. Quote. Okay, if he had the option, he'd rather defy the third Hokage than follow Whitebeard and Naruto.
Take a deep breath. Kakashi remarked, take a step back. He rapidly made hand seals. Earth release. Earth splitting technique.
Boom. The earth split open. A big number of building ruins also moved to either side, exposing a not-so-small subterranean area in front of them. This subterranean room is believed to cover about 1,000 square meters. Kakashi glanced down. Even him. I was astonished. How much village funds did the leader of Kusagakure village embezzle? He couldn't help but blurt it out. The almost 1,000 square meter subterranean room was packed with heaps of bills, each at least 1.5 meters high.
The length and breadth are almost the same as a double bed. There are almost 10 stacks. In addition, there is a little stack of gold bars in the corner. It seems highly golden in sunlight. Those who don't know may believe they have delved into a bank vault. Uzumaki Fushi, standing next to him, was taken aback and mumbled, these banknotes add up to 200 million ryo, right? These gold bars added up might also sell for 200 million ryo? 400 million ryo? Kakashi's lifeless fish eyes grew wider.
Even Konoha, a very large-scale ninja community. The yearly budget is about 1 billion ryo. This village leader, he's really good at making money. Kakashi was astounded. No wonder Kusagakure village is so impoverished. Even the ninjas don't wear a few explosive tags. So, all the money is right here. The Whitebeard pirates have taken over the whole Kusagakure village. Nobody in the community has any problems to this.
At the same period, Whitebeard amassed a vast fortune in Kusagakure village. Thank you, Kusagakure village's money-loving chief. If the Kusagakure leader was competent, there wouldn't be so much money and gold in the basement of the Kusagakure village government building. Unfortunately, he is not an effective leader. Under his leadership, the whole town emits a feeling of poverty and despicable from the inside out.
Following a meticulous count, it is proven that the Whitebeard pirates gathered 210 million ryo in Kusagakure village, as well as 180 million ryo in gold. This amount is, it's only slightly different from Uzumaki Fushi's estimate of 400 million ryo. Garararara. Adding the money we robbed from the land of fire, isn't it just 400 million ryo? Whitebeard chuckled wildly. My foolish children. With these 400 million, we can build the Moby Dick.
For Whitebeard, if a pirate group lacks a ship, can it still be termed a pirate group? Moby Dick. Naruto rubbed his head, what is that?
Bang. Ouch. Naruto grasped his head, tears in his eyes. Whitebeard's fist of love left a large bump on his skull. Foolish son, said Whitebeard. This was once a pirate ship that accompanied me for many years. Once, Karin took a few steps away from Naruto in silence. She was frightened she would likewise be struck by Whitebeard's fist of love. Yes, once. Whitebeard's eyes lit up with nostalgia. In an unprecedented war, the Moby Dick, which once dominated the sea, was burned down. But the remembrance in his eyes swiftly faded. Whitebeard laughed and replied, so, I wants to rebuild an identical Moby Dick in the ninja world. This is a super battleship that can accommodate 1,600 people. 1,600 people. Uzumaki Fushi's eyes expanded slightly. The two youngsters, Naruto and Karin, aren't very sensitive to this number. However, as an adult, she understands exactly what this entails. You understand. The whole Kusagakure village, including people and ninjas. There are only a few thousand people. In other words, this pirate ship can transport roughly 1/4 of the inhabitants of Kusagakur village. This is, how amazing. To build a battleship of this scale, I'm afraid you need to go to a place with rich shipbuilding experience. Uzumaki Fushi responded. Land of Grass is an inland country in the ninja world. Even the largest river in the country cannot accommodate such a large ship.
Gurarararara. Wherever there is such a ship in the ninja world, the Whitebeard pirates will go straight there. Whitebeard laughed. Land of Water. Uzumaki Fushi said after a moment of reflection. The country with the strongest shipbuilding technology in the ninja world is Land of Water. In fact, Land of Fire also has coastal areas. Kakashi softly said, maybe you can go back to the Land of Fire and hire their shipyard to build such a ship. Naruto departed the Land of Fire and arrived at the Land of Grass.
It has already tested Konoha's nerves significantly. If he runs around again and goes to Land of Water, won't he go further away from Land of Fire? If the Land of Fire's shipyard is so powerful, where was their reinforcement ship when Uzushiogakure village was destroyed? Uzumaki Fushi said, choking Kakashi. Honestly, when Uzushiogakure village was destroyed, Kakashi might have been a newborn. He may not even be born yet. How would he know? What happened to Uzushiogakure village? A child with white hair. You are outsiders, please do not interfere with our Whitebeard pirates family reunion. Whitebeard gave Kakashi a look that made him stop talking right away. By this moment, Uzumaki Fushi went on. In my childhood recollections, many of Uzushiogakure ships were created by Land of Water. Or simply purchased from the Land of Water. Land of Water. Naruto, cradling the lump on his head, stated, I believe I heard Grandpa Hokage mention this nation. Because it is one of the 5 great nations. Uzumaki Fushi grinned and stated, the 5 great nations of the ninja world are Land of Fire, Land of Water, Land of Earth, Land of Wind, and Land of Lightning. Among them, Land of Fire is the most powerful in terms of overall strength, as well as one of the most numerous and prosperous. Big sister, you know a lot. Naruto was astonished. Pops, let's go to the Land of Water. Naruto was excited, maybe we may stop by Karin and her older sister's hometown on the way. That it is called Uzushiogakure village. Uzumaki Fushi's expression was filled with sorrow, who would wish to be homeless in the ninja world.
But it may be simply a pile of rubble now. My hometown once faced the disaster of national extinction.
What? Has Kusagakure village been destroyed? Was the Daimyo of the Land of Grass killed? What is the difference between this and national extinction? Land of Fire. Konohagakure village. Although it is a neighboring nation, the high-level authorities of Konohagakure village learnt about the situation many days later. Sarutobi Hiruzen had been out of the hospital for a long time and was still in a wheelchair. Just returned to the Hokage office today. He was surprised with surprising news. Sarutobi Hiruzen puffed and puffed on his pipe, his forehead wrinkled enough to pin a fly.
His aged face looked somber, his eyes were filled with disbelief.
Edward Newgate. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a large inhalation of smoke, feeling the fragrant smoke twirling in his lips, and he felt the wounds on his body that had healed not long ago become somewhat painful again. The information provided from Land of Grass was little delayed, but the description was highly thorough.
With this knowledge, Sarutobi Hiruzen understood exactly what Whitebeard had done in the Land of Grass. The vast Land of Grass, except for Hizuka Castle, which has always maintained complete neutrality, there are little around 30 ninjas remaining. Pirate flags draped all over Kusagakure village. Sarutobi Hiruzen expelled smoke, and publicly killed the Daimyo, a monster, claiming to be a pirate forcefully conquered a ninja village and even a whole nation. Whitebeard pirates. What is Whitebeard pirates?
The bordering nations of the Land of Grass include not only the Land of Fire, but also the Land of Waterfall, Earth, and Rain.
Such a significant occurrence occurred in the Land of Grass. They also received first-hand knowledge. Hanzo of the Salamander, a demigod in the ninja world, has long lost his young zeal and drive, as well as his old faith. The whole person has become self-confident and distrustful, filled with profound ideas. In a short amount of time, the landgrass was devastated. Hanzo of the salamander's ancient face, disguised below the gas mask, revealed a few concerned and alert expressions. Honestly, he is convinced that with the help of a Megacure village, he, too, can do this. Following all, Kusagakure village is one of the lowest-ranked ninja villages in the whole ninja world.
However, a Megacure village symbolizes a nation, and the whole Rain Nation. What does the Whitebeard pirate group represent?
A pirate organization capable of destroying a nation.
This is unbelievable. For some reason, Hanzo of the Salamander suddenly thought about the Akatsuki group, which had lately become stronger, and linked up with Danzo to fight with it, but they were unable to defeat it. On the contrary, in recent years, the Akatsuki organization, which had hitherto remained covert, has grown into a monster that has surprised him. Really, he closed his eyes. Troublesome people are appearing one after another. Kanahagakure village, in the office of the Hokage building. Uchiha Itachi, who was guarding outside the office, could hear a faint noise coming from within. Sarutobi, Whitebeard's actions have made the entire ninja world aware of his presence. Shimura Danzo's expression was dismal as he slapped a bounty order on Whitebeard in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen. A bounty of 100 million, almost comparable to you, the Hokage of Konoha. Danzo stated. Such a high bounty for Whitebeard will definitely arouse the curiosity of various ninja villages. Once they investigate in certain directions, it won't take long to find out that Uzumaki Naruto is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. He did not wait for Sarutobi Hiruzen to speak. He began to babble ceaselessly. Uzumaki Naruto can conceal his Jinchuriki identity in the village. Once the power of the Nine Tails is released, it may be locked in time. But outside the village, once the power of the Nine Tails inside him leaks out, even a blind man would know he is the Nine Tails Jinchuriki. Another stuff. Whitebeard plundered the Shimura clan casino in the Land of Fire. The filthy Whitebeard even asked that this casino pay him at least 70% of its revenues each year. Danzo was furious when he learnt of this news a long back. And Sarutobi Hiruzen was smoking his pipe indifferently. The whole workplace was filled with smoke. The unpleasant scent of secondhand smoking caused Danzo to scowl. Danzo, what do you want to do? Sarutobi Hiruzen gazed up at Danzo, who stood in front of him. Assassinate Whitebeard. Danzo's eyes were filled with murderous intent. Whitebeard and the Nine Tails Jinchuriki have formed an unholy alliance. He must die. Sarutobi Hiruzen tapped the table with his pipe. The table had information from several days ago. Whitebeard was able to destroy the entire Kusagakure village with his own power, and he was able to defeat me in the village. Sarutobi Hiruzen said, "What confidence do you have that you can assassinate him?" "That's because you are elderly. That's because you are worthless. This is because you should retire." These 3 lines came to Danzo's head, but he did not speak them. Instead, he stated, "The reason Kusagakure village was destroyed is because they were too weak. Even I can demolish Kusagakure village overnight. And don't forget, Sarutobi, we are Konoha." Danzo went on. "As long as you are willing to lend me a person, I guarantee that I can take Whitebeard's head." Who? Sarutobi Hiruzen did not agree, but instead inquired. Danzo spat forth a name, Uchiha Shisui. Shisui. Sarutobi Hiruzen closed his eyes. After a time, he shook his head. "I believe this strategy is rather severe. This isn't our style in Konoha. Shisui is very unique. He's a particularly remarkable Uchiha. I don't want him to have an accident." According to Sarutobi Hiruzen, this young man concerns the future of Uchiha and the village. Damn it. Refused again. Danzo tightened his teeth. "Sarutobi, you're too indecisive. How can you confront the second Hokage after Whitebeard uses Jinchuriki? How can you confront the first Hokage?" "Danzo, what I say is what it is." Even when in a wheelchair, Sarutobi Hiruzen stated, "Don't give orders to Root without my permission. Sarutobi, every time I come to you with some suggestions, you refuse and refute me every time." Danzo could not contain himself and said, all of my proposals are in the greatest interests of Konoha. If you keep being indecisive, Sarutobi, you will come to regret it. Danzo, I am the Hokage. Sarutobi Hiruzen spoke softly. Bang. Danzo ignored what Sarutobi Hiruzen had to say next. He turned around, opened and slammed the door. The impact was so strong that the door almost shattered. Shimura Danzo, who had left the Hokage's office, observed Uchiha Itachi waiting at the entrance.
Although Itachi was wearing an Anbu mask at the time, Danzo recognized him.
He paid special attention to Uchiha Itachi, and I completely understood what he said. Danzo took another good look at him but said nothing. He exited the Hokage building straight. When he got out, I am the Hokage, I am the Hokage. The more Danzo thought about it, the angrier he became. His hands trembled. Damn, Sarutobi, can you say anything else? In these brief 2 or 3 months, Danzo went to Sarutobi Hiruzen for a variety of reasons, including the Uchiha clan, Whitebeard, and Jinchuriki. But without exception, all he could hear from Sarutobi Hiruzen's lips were the 5 words that had him speechless: I am the Hokage. Sarutobi, if you don't want to do this kind of thing, I'll do it for you. Danzo's eyes showed a trace of sadness. His eyes went in the direction of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha. Shisui.
Meanwhile, Sarutobi Hiruzen carefully observed Danzo's receding form. He was silently smoking his pipe, without making any sound.
Until Danzo's form totally vanished from view. The smoke from his pipe covered half of Sarutobi Hiruzen's face.
The portion that was exposed indicated signs of concern. The portion that was submerged had a hint of a grin that most people couldn't see.
After all, certain tasks are not appropriate for him as Hokage to do.
Or even mention. Land of Fire, a distant tiny town.
A reconstructed casino seemed fairly basic. Rather than calling it a casino, it resembled a gigantic wooden shack that had just been constructed. You are cheating. You must be cheating. Tsunade was enraged, having lost all but 20 ryo of the money she had earned from Whitebeard in less than half a month. Her ugly look caused the person in charge of the casino to sweat heavily and get uneasy. Because this casino had been targeted, Whitebeard's poisonous hand was recently used. That day also helped everyone in the casino realize that if someone wants to disobey the regulations, they cannot stop them. Tsunade-sama, the current interim manager of this casino, is not from the Shimura clan. Because the individual from the Shimura clan is still in the hospital and has not yet been released. You are invited to examine our casino's amenities. If you uncover any evidence of cheating, we will double your compensation. The individual in charge of the casino exhibited considerable humility. Tsunade did not take his remarks seriously. Because she had just vented her frustrations before. I cannot believe it. Today, I'll utilize my last 20 taels to win your casino. Shizune raced in, holding Taunton, just as Tsunade was about to withdraw her last banknote. Shizune, who was holding Taunton, rushed straight to Tsunade's side. Tsunade-sama, something significant has occurred. Tsunade was taken aback. Shizune leaned down and whispered something into her ear before she could respond. Tsunade's eyes grew wider as she listened. What? To be continued.
If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to hit that like button and smash that subscribe for more amazing videos.